Namaste. The topic of today's video is behavior management of children in classrooms. There are classrooms and there are teachers who are able to manage their classes and the behavior of the students in a very nice manner, whereas in some classes we see that teachers struggle to manage the behavior of the children. They have to advise, they have to cajole them, they have to request them, and sometimes teachers have to shout at the children to bring them to behave properly in the class. As we all know, the attention span of small children is low, and if precious time of inside the classroom is wasted in the management of the class or the behavior of the students in the class, in all the classes, then that much of precious time is wasted and the achievement of the targeted learning outcome doesn't occur. I have seen in some classes that teacher struggles to manage the behavior of the class, and even after starting the class and making the children to remain quiet in the class, after every 10 minutes or 15 minutes, the teacher again has to start all over again to bring the children to behave properly in the class. Now, first of all, coming to the reason for why there is a need for behavior management in the children and why do children misbehave in the class. So, there are various reasons for that. First thing will be students' lack of interest. They can be lack of motivation, attention seeking by the students, the classroom environment, the teacher's attitude, and most importantly, the family background of the child. We all have to understand that all classes are not the same, and the classroom as a whole has a personality and a heterogeneous group of students. So, it is actually a very complex system where one formula doesn't work. So, teachers have to customize and personalize the tools of behavior management according to the class. So, once a teacher understands this, then there are a couple of methodologies that can be followed in the class to bring about proper behavior of the children in the class. I would list a few methodologies that I follow, and in the course of my experience in the field of education, I have seen lots of teachers managing their class wonderfully well. So, I have picked up a couple of points from there also, and I am here with the strategies of effective behavior management of children. Hope this will be useful to all the teachers out there. First of all, I will start with the seating arrangement in the class. The seating arrangement in the class plays a big role. The strategy that I have seen that works very effectively is rotating the seating every week. Like children sit in rows, and if the last row children come to the first row children go to the second row goes to the third to the fourth, so on and so forth. So, if that kind of an arrangement is done, every child feels important and every child gets an opportunity to sit on the first bench, and every child gets an opportunity to also experience the feeling of sitting at the back. Similarly, this can also be, the rotation can also be from one side to the left side of the class to the right side of the class, because mostly it is seen that if the teacher is right handed, most of the time we tend to look towards the right. So the attention of the teacher and the eye contact with the children for the teacher remains on the right side. So in that case, sometimes unintentionally what happens is that the children who are towards the left, they get less attention. So this kind of an arrangement will help a lot. It will help the children to feel important, and teacher can also get to know all the children and maintain eye contact with the children. Then in spite of this, there are attention seekers in the class, and there are lots of reasons for attention seeking. Mostly during the childhood, children want to feel important, and they want to get the attention of the teachers and also the attention of their peer. And if for that, to get attention, they will jump around in the class, they will shout in the class, they may even jump on the desk or benches, or create a situation of fight in the class, and they may also bully others in the class just for the sake of getting attention. So here what the teacher can do is, when you are asking questions or when the class is going on, give importance to the child who does the work the right way, the child who is sitting properly, the child who writes properly, the child who is generally behaving good, behaving well in the class. Give opportunities, more opportunity to that class, that child. Take that child's name, and in this way, subconsciously, the children who seek attention, they will get an idea that if I also do my things right, teacher will call out my name, teacher will ask me to come to the front, teacher will give me importance. So in this way, this attention seekers problem can be sorted out. Next thing that many teachers complain is, in every class there are some mostly 2 to 3 children who are very naughty, considered to be very naughty, and they are branded the problem creators in the class. So for those children, what I would advise is that, first of all, identify those children who are in the habit of, in spite of teachers reprimanding them or whatever, telling them not to do things like that, if they are still in the habit of doing that, make what should I say, a kind of a I should say a sandwich kind of an arrangement. Make the child to sit in the middle, with either side the child who are quiet in the class. The child is made to sit in the middle. It actually makes a lot of difference. So that is one method of controlling the bad behavior of the children in the class. Then sometimes we also see in a classroom, as we enter the classroom, mostly it is after the recess, or if the children have come from the games period or somewhere. When we enter the class, the whole class is totally disruptive, super disruptive class I call. So in that case, teacher, the first reaction of the teacher is, oh my God, how do I manage this class? How do I say, everybody is making noise, nobody is sitting in their place. So instead of getting irritated or getting worked up, what the teacher can do is calmly just enter the class and tell all the children to settle down. If they're not, if they're in super energetic mood and they're not able to settle down, just ask them to stand up, put their hands up and hands down a couple of times, and then after that just ask them to close their eyes, fold your hands, close your eyes and think of anything that you like the most. It can be your parents, it can be any food item, it can be any place that you have visited. Think about that for some time and then ask them to sit down. This will bring down their energy levels and calm them down. And this method, I think in many cases I have applied, many classes I have applied this method and it has worked out 100%. Next thing that I have seen many teachers do is, teacher comes to the class and says, okay, if it's a super disruptive class, I want all of you to be in your position. I want you all the children to sit in their place, settle down, and by the time I count 10, everybody should be in their place with their textbooks or notebooks or whatever open. So this method also works out very effectively. Start counting from from 10 to 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So by the time you reach 1, most of the children, they are calm and they are settled down. Now another method that teacher can follow is, just to bring about all the time you will be following this countdown method, it may not work out, the novelty of that will wear out. So another method that the teachers can follow is, you can say 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me. So once you say this, everybody, whoever is looking here or there, whoever is not paying attention, they will all focus and they will all start listening to the teacher. Now this should be done in a very convincing and very interesting manner. Back in the days, I think when we were students, what should I say, the assertive discipline method was followed. Wherein I used to remember when the children used to make noise in the class, there used to be one class monitor, and the class monitor will go and write the names of the children on the blackboard. So we didn't want our names to be on the blackboard, and then the teacher used to come, and sometimes those children who were making noise, they used to get some kind of a punishment. So that method, actually it is a punitive method and not specific to the behavior. And over the years, child psychologists have identified that there are so many wrong things with that system, and so we have done away with that system, and new strategies and new methods. Although as I always say, there is no best method or there is no right method to handle the children. Depending upon the complexity of the classroom and the behavior of the children, we have to modify, and new strategies have to bring out. We have to bring out new strategies to control the class, depending upon the environment of the class. So then I was coming to the different methods in which we can control the class. If you want a super quiet class, if there is a listening activity, you want to do a listening activity in the classroom, and you want a super quiet class where nobody is making any sound, then a very innovative method, I should say, can be followed. This can be followed for small children. This has worked out very well. It is like, you bring some kind of a toy or a small stuffed toy or something like this to something very interesting for the child to see. So this is this is a small kind of a toy that this kind of toy you can take to the class, and then what do you say? You can say that whoever sits very quietly, I will give you this toy. You can name it, sweetie or tiny or cutie or whatever. So this cutie will come and this cutie will sit on your desk, and this cutie will come and sit on the desk only where the children are sitting quietly. So looking at this, this is something very attractive to the children. They want to just hold this in their hand, or they want to explore what exactly is this toy. So for that they will remain quiet. So this is actually short term arrangement, but it works out very effectively. Then as I said earlier, now we are not following a punitive method of behavior management with children. We are following a positive reinforcement. So in that context, what psychologists say is that we should not use negative kind of words with the children. So what psychologists say is that, suppose I tell you that you don't think about elephant. So if I say that you don't think about elephant, what happens is that elephant only keeps coming into your mind. So because of that, in the case of behavior management also, psychologists say that you should never say that if the child is coming late to the school, not punctual, don't say that you are always coming late. Tell the child that you come in time to the school. Or if the child is not completing the homework or classwork or whatever, then don't say that your work is always incomplete. Just say that complete your work. This holds good for teachers when they are doing the corrections also. So the child's work is incomplete, don't write incomplete there, just write complete your work. So this is called positive reinforcement. There is another problem that most of the teachers face, and that is of mass answering. Suppose a teacher is asking a question to the children after the content has been delivered. All the children, they want to answer because most of the children have understood and they know, so they are all very enthusiastic and they want to answer. So in this case, a very effective method can be followed. That is, you can have small ice cream sticks or small strips of paper. You can write all the names of the children on that ice cream strip or the strips and put it in a small box or something, and just pick out the child. If you want, for example, if you want Arjun to answer, so you just pick up anyone from that, and whosever name comes, you say that this is a child who has to give an answer. So in this case, what happens is that children learn to wait for the turn, which is very, very important in classroom and behavior management. And next thing that I have seen that works very effectively, and I mostly practice this during the revision time, and that is peer assessment. Divide the class. This is kind of create a kind of a positive kind of a competition between the children. It can be 2 rows to the left and 2 rows to the right, or it can be between boys and girls, which works out very well. We can have a quiz kind of a competition between the first three lessons has been completed. Now we are going to revise those first 3 lessons for our half-yearly examinations or final examinations. So tomorrow, just announce that we will be having a quiz contest between the boys and girls, or between the first 2 rows and towards the left, and the next rows towards the right. So in this case, there is a healthy competition between the students, and everybody wants to that kind of a group, group kind of a feeling comes in the children. And though there is a peer group, but they will everybody, the girls want to score better, and the boys also will want to score better. So in the process, what will happen is that teaching will take place, and they will learn whatever you want them to learn. So this is one kind of reinforcement that is very effective, that I have found to be very effective in my classes. And then next strategy that I have seen that works out very effectively is modulate your voice. See, teachers, the most effective way in which we communicate with the children is with our voice. So by modulating our voice, we can bring about, you can show encouragement, you can show cheerfulness, you can show happiness, you can also show that you are very unhappy, the children are not making a lot of noise, and make the children understand that the way you modulate your voice, what does it, without saying, without expressing your emotion, the child should be able to understand whether my teacher is, happy with me, whether teacher is angry with me or whatever. And in this process, what I have seen is that those children also who are attention seekers or who are very difficult to manage, if you just take their name, just go near them and whisper into their ears, like the whole class is sitting quietly and they are doing some work, some writing activity is going on, and one particular child is not doing that writing work. You can just go to the child without anybody knowing, just whisper into the child, come on child, why don't you do your work. Just encourage the child. So this, I have seen it works out in most of the time. And for some of the children, they are very happy to listen to their names. So in that case, you can, for example, if it is Aryan, you can say, Aryan, 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 I want you to keep quiet, or I want you to do this work. So this method also works out very well. In this context, I would like to put forth one more point, is that the child, observes more than what we think the child observes. So all the activities of the teacher, whatever, from the time you go to the class, everything is observed by the child. So the golden rule that every teacher should follow in the class is that to at least touch the four corners of the classroom twice during the period. So once you cover that, children will know that I am being watched, and most of the children, the behavior problems of most of the children, it is, you can manage the problem. And in spite of all these tips that I have given, if there is still, if there is a child who is not fallen in line and who is still not difficult for you to manage, then of course you will have to find out what is the reason. There may be some underlying, background, the child's background may be such that is making him behave in a certain way. Then individualized program or strategies has to be will have to be planned for that particular child. But otherwise, in most of the cases, I have seen that if you follow these kind of methods, definitely you will be able to manage your class well, and your class time will not be wasted in the process of making the children to sit quietly in the class. So I hope this video will be useful to all the teachers out there who find the process of classroom management or behavior management of the children difficult. Thank you.